Hey fellow shredders, welcome back. Today let's talk about power chords. Power chords are some of the most basic yet most important chords that you're going to play in rock and roll and pop type music. So some of the names that we're going to see are like A5 or G5, D5, E5, things like that. But what in the world does that mean? So when you see a chord name that says a letter name and then a number 5, that's telling you that you've got what's called a root, which is generally the name of the chord. Let's just say it's F5. It's got the F, then it's also got a fifth interval above it. So played together, you have F5 right there. Now, another thing to keep in mind is there's a couple different types of shapes that we might encounter. Generally speaking, you've got the open position chords, which are only movable this way across the fingerboard and not this way. So we've got here on the 6th string root an E5, and if we put our pointer finger on the 5th string at the 2nd fret and play those two strings together, we got E5 right there. Now, cool thing about this shape is if we move it next door to the strings underneath it with our open 5th string and then our pointer finger on the 4th string at the 2nd fret and strumming only those two strings, we've got the A5 chord. Now we can move over again and play an open 4th string with a pointer on the 3rd string 2nd fret, gives us D5. So if I kind of put all those together, there's really only so much music I could come up with those three chords. But then again, you could probably come up with quite a few creative ideas. Hey, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Now we're going to talk about some of the movable power chord positions. So typically you're going to have 3 different types of movable power chords, starting on our 6th string or our 5th and on the 4th string, that we could play 3 different types of power chords up and down the neck. So if I started on the 6th string at the 3rd fret, I'm going to play a G5, and I'm going to take my ring finger and put it on the string underneath it, the 5th string, at the 5th fret, with my pointer 3rd fret on the 6th string. Now it's called a movable power chord because we can move that up and down the neck. I can also make that same shape on the strings underneath the 6th string. So with my pointer finger on the 5th string and then my ring finger on the 4th string 2 frets higher. So in this case, I'm at the 3rd fret on the 5th string with my pointer. And then I've also got my 4th string 5th fret with my ring finger here. Now I can also make some of those same shapes starting on our 4th string. So if I, once again, just starting at the 3rd fret, just for keeping things consistent, if I'm on the 4th string, 3rd fret with my pointer finger, then I would put my ring finger on the 3rd string, 5th fret. The idea is that you've got an empty fret or an open fret in between your 2 fingers. So you kind of have this little diagonal shape going on. It is common to see power chords written on grids, little chord grids that you might see on a piece of tablature or a piece of sheet music or in a guitar magazine, where they show fingers 1 and 3. There is an alternative though. I tend to play my power chords when I'm low on the neck down here near the net. The spacing is a lot more comfortable if I use my pointer and my pinky like this. I can do the same thing with a 5th string root power chord. Can also do it on a 4th string as well. Now typically power chords are just 2 strings. However, there are some guitar players out there that use a 3rd finger to play a power chord. And really what you have is you've got what's called the root, which is the name of the chord. Then you've also got the 5th interval. But then some guys like to add the octave, which is also the same name as the note name of the chord there. So in this case, I've got a G5 with an added octave. So really it's still just 2 notes. One of the notes is doubled by what we call an octave. So that can make the chord sound a little more full or thick. I can also make that same shape on the strings underneath the 6th string with strings 5, 4, and 3. Now if I wanted to play 3-string power chords starting on the 4th string, I need to make a modification to my 3rd note that's in there. So unlike the previous 2 chords that started on the 6th and the 5th strings, where we had, basically if I'm starting at a 3rd fret, I've got 3, 5, and 5. Whereas conversely, if I started at the 5th fret, I would have had 5, 7, 7. If I move over to the 5th string, I've still got that same shape. Doesn't matter where up and down the neck I go with that. It's still going to be the same thing. However, if I wanted to play a 4th string chord, because the way the guitar is tuned, rather than my pinky being directly underneath my ring finger, in this case I'm at a 5th string or a 4th string 5th fret note with my pointer. Then I've got the 3rd string 7th fret. I would need to put my pinky at the 8th fret on the 2nd string, which gives us a shape like this. That's a pretty cool chord right there, and I know Eddie Van Halen and other guys, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, all of them have used that chord, especially back in the 80s and 90s. Warren DeMartini from Rat, just about anybody used that chord because it added that cool high end without it being too low, bassy, kind of real cutting type sound that you could get with those chords. Hey, so power chords are a pretty simple concept, but they do require some practice to get good at them. Some of the things that I might see with some of my private students are when they're first learning power chords, they accidentally hit more strings than they should with the pick. So you got to exhibit a little bit of pick control, and that sometimes can just take some hand-eye coordination for you to muscle memorize how much you should be picking so you don't accidentally hit some adjacent strings. You know, there are literally thousands of great songs out there that are built around power chords, so definitely practice them and get real good at them. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, and hit that bell also. That way you stay up to date on when the next video comes out. And if you have any questions about any of the power chords or anything I covered in today's lesson, go ahead and drop a comment down below, and I'll be glad to answer all your questions. Till then, I'll see you next time, and keep rocking on.